What's up, guys, and welcome in to the podcast. I am your host, the Philly Celtics fan, back with another video here on the channel. I know it's been a few weeks since my last one, but we are officially back. We've got a lot of new Celtics breaking news to break down for you guys. A lot of stuff around Joe Mazulla, Jaylen Brown, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and plenty more. So, obviously, we just got the NBA awards. We got MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, all that type of stuff. And then obviously we also have Coach of the Year. And the Coach of the Year finalists were Mitch Johnson of the Spurs, JB Bickerstaff of the Pistons, and then we had Joe Mazzulla of our Boston Celtics. I honestly, I was a firm believer that Joe Mazzulla was going to win the Coach of the Year award all season long. I truly believed that until, obviously what happened in the playoffs. But that, it's a regular season award. It's not a playoff award. But even regardless of that, I thought they maybe would have still took that into account. And I honestly did think that it was probably going to go to the Detroit Pistons, winning 60 games, getting first place in the East. A lot of people didn't expect that. But Joe Mazzulla did indeed win Coach of the Year despite an epic 3-1 blown lead collapse in the first round against Philadelphia. But like I said, it is a regular season award, so we can't really look at that and put that into should he get Coach of the Year because of that. So I am happy that Joe Mazzulla did win Coach of the Year. I think it is deserved. This team was looked at as a gap year Celtics squad, a team that was projected to win 40 to 42 games, maybe make the play-in, maybe miss it. And he ended up, letting them, leading them to winning 56 games and a second place in the Eastern Conference. So I truly do believe that Joe Mazzulla did deserve this award. I know there's been a ton of people online that disagree with that. They think it should have went to Bickerstaff of the Pistons. They should have went to Mitch Johnson of the Spurs. He's got them to the conference finals. And I get that. They're both great candidates. But I think when you talk about expectations going into this year, I think Boston had the lowest because no Jason Tatum. You lose Jason Tatum, who was on All-NBA team for the last 4 seasons. And obviously, your franchise star. You lose Drew Holiday, who was on that championship team, who was a crucial part of that team. Kristaps Porzingis, same as Drew Holiday, crucial part of the championship team. You lose Al Horford, who's been the veteran of this Celtics team. That's just a hard piece to lose, especially at that center position. And then you also lose guys like Luke Cornett. So I honestly, when you look at that and how much Joe Mazzulla lost this offseason, and, like I said, they were projected to win 40 to 42 games. And, going out there and winning 56 and, leading your team to second in the Eastern Conference, I do think that warrants winning Coach of the Year despite what happened in the playoffs. Hey, if this was an award that included the playoffs, yeah, I would say that Joe Mazzulla definitely didn't deserve to win Coach of the Year. But it's a regular season award for a reason. And I do believe that he deserved it a little bit more than Mitch Johnson and Bickerstaff to win that award. So I am happy for Joe Mazzulla. I know that Joe Mazzulla is the type of guy that doesn't care about this award, especially after how he went out in the playoffs. I know that he doesn't give a damn about winning Coach of the Year. He's probably, just focused on getting the team ready for next season, developing a better game plan so that, we can not blow 3-1 leads in the playoffs. But either way, a really cool thing to see Joe Mazzulla win Coach of the Year. We haven't seen a Celtics coach win Coach of the Year in a really long time, so very cool to see. But moving away from Joe Mazzulla, staying on that path of the awards, the NBA regular season awards, we also got the All-NBA teams, and Jaylen Brown, who probably a lot of you and definitely me expected to be on All-NBA first team, considering he was a top 5 MVP candidate, fell to All-NBA second team. I think that is disgraceful. Like, Jaylen Brown went out there this year and averaged, 29, 7, and 5, something like that. Ridiculous numbers. He shot at close to 50%. He, once again, like Joe Mazzulla, led this gap year Celtics team that was supposed to win 40 games and led them to 56 wins. Say what you want about Jaylen Brown if you think that, he's not better than Tatum or whatever you want to, make false assumptions about him. Jaylen Brown had an incredible year and, without Jason Tatum, and showed that he could lead this team to the second place in the Eastern Conference. So him not being on All-NBA first team despite being a top 5 MVP candidate, I just think that's kind of ridiculous. I really don't like that at all. There were some guys on All-NBA first team I thought didn't deserve it more than him. One of those guys is Cade Cunningham. I love Cade Cunningham. I think he's an incredible player. I think he's going to be an incredible player for years to come. Him and that Pistons team, it's going to get scary over there. But over Jaylen Brown this year, I don't know. Right? I don't know about that. Cunningham, he missed a lot of the second half of the year with that collapsed lung. And obviously he still met the minimum game requirement to be on an All NBA team. But still, I just think, that for me plays a little bit of a factor. I know that the Pistons won more games than Boston, won 4 more games, but still, I think when it comes to all in all leading your team, I just think that Jaylen Brown, with the lack of help he had to be able to lead that team, to win as many games as they did, and also do it while averaging 29 points. I mean, Cade Cunningham wasn't averaging 29 points, and Jaylen Brown was a little more efficient than Cade Cunningham. So I just think that, I don't know. I didn't think that he deserved it over Jaylen Brown. Luka Doncic is another guy. Now, I know if you look at Luka's stats, he's averaging, 32, 33 points a game, a ton of rebounds, a ton of assists. I get that. But he also missed a lot of games this year, and he's also a huge defensive liability. I think when you compare the two, we saw what happened in the 2024 finals with Jaylen Brown strapping up Luka Doncic that entire series. And I'm not saying this is a true head-to-head competition, but I don't know. Jaylen Brown's a better two-way player. Jaylen Brown led his team to more wins despite having less help. Luka missed more games. I don't know. I feel like Jaylen Brown, in my personal opinion, deserved to be on an All-NBA first team over those two guys. I think the rest of the guys that made All-NBA first team were deserved. But I think Jaylen Brown, he should have got that All-NBA first team without a doubt. Just with the year he had. But there's obviously been a ton of stuff going on with the media. Stephen A. Smith, everyone trying to bring down Jaylen Brown, trying to break apart him and Jason Tatum. It's going to happen all offseason. It's happened their entire careers. And this is just another annoying thing that the media did by not giving Jaylen Brown his rightfully earned All-NBA first team slot. Moving on from that, though, we also had another award given to a Celtics player, and that was All-NBA defensive first team, Derek White. I think this is very deserved. But this is also causing a lot of outrage. People don't think Derek White actually deserved to be on that first team. People are saying that he should have been on an All-NBA second or third team, and I disagree with that heavily. I think a lot of people are looking at the fact that Derek White didn't shoot the ball well this year and, averaged like 11 points in the first round against Philadelphia. Everyone's looking at that and saying, oh, well, why was he on an All-NBA first team? It's not All-NBA first team. It's All-NBA defensive first team, right? Like, defense and offense are two different parts of the game. And I know Derek White struggled offensively this year, especially shooting the ball, but his defense remained top-notch all season long. He is still the best in the league, being a perimeter defender and blocking shot, the best perimeter defender that can block a shot in the NBA. He averages over a block a game for being a guard. I mean, that is truly crazy. Like, you're not seeing other people do that. And then he's also going out there, he's averaging over a steal a game, just one of the better on-ball defenders in the league, probably a top 5 on-ball defender in the NBA. Just his effort, his intensity, diving for loose balls, just being the heart and soul of the team. I think it is disrespectful that people are calling for him to not be on All-NBA first team. And like I said, I think a lot of people are blinded by his struggles offensively and not really taking into account that, that's a different part of the game, right? Like, defense and offense, two different parts of the game. I just think it's silly that people don't think he deserves to be on that team. I think if this was last year, and when he was shooting the ball better, I think no one would have had a problem with it. But now all of a sudden everyone has a problem with it. And everyone just hates the Celtics, right? Aside from Celtics fans, people don't like Boston. People aren't going to like Joe Mazulla getting on first team. People are going to snub Jaylen Brown from All-NBA first team. And then obviously they're going to complain about Derek White being on all defensive first team. So it is what it is. But moving away from the awards, we can start to get into the trade rumors, the buzz going around the league. And obviously that has to do with Jaylen Brown and Giannis Antetokounmpo. There are some new teams interested in Jaylen Brown. We obviously all know that a lot of the talk right now on social media is Giannis for Jaylen Brown, the Celtics and the Bucks making a blockbuster deal this summer. I'm not really a fan of that. I don't want to break up the Jays. Giannis in Boston would be insane. But I just don't want to see Jaylen Brown go. I've made that very clear. But the 3 teams that I just said are interested in Jaylen Brown that just came out a few days ago, I believe, are the Portland Trailblazers, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Houston Rockets. So the way I look at this is, a lot of these teams are looking for maybe a new number 1 guy. Atlanta, to me, makes the most sense for having an interest in Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Johnson, a terrific young player, but as of right now, he's not going to be a number one option on a championship contending team. They obviously don't have Trae Young anymore. CJ McCollum's not that guy. They have a very talented young team. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Onyeka Okongwu, very good core of players, and I think that they can be good for a very long time. But I think they are missing that true number one option. And I think if they're seeing Jaylen Brown as number one this year, I think Atlanta definitely has that interest in bringing him over. But, as good as that looks from a Hawks standpoint, and potentially being one piece away from contending with other teams in the East like the Knicks and the Pistons and the Celtics, I just don't think it makes any sense from a Celtics standpoint, because who are we realistically going to get in return unless this was like a 3-team deal? If this is a Celtics and Hawks trade, I don't know who we get in this deal, because Jaylen Johnson obviously makes the most sense. He's the young star, made all-star team this year, averaged like 25, 10, and 7 or something like that. Incredible numbers this year. But Atlanta's not trading that, even for Jaylen Brown. Just when you look at the age of Jaylen Johnson and what he was able to produce for them this year, he's not going anywhere in a trade this summer. I can guarantee you that. They'd be willing to probably trade everyone else on their team outside of Jaylen Johnson. But in my opinion, no one else on their team is worth Jaylen Brown. CJ McCollum's a free agent. Onyeka Okongwu would be a nice touch, but I'm not going out there for Okongwu and Nickeil Alexander-Walker for Jaylen Brown. I just don't see that being a fair trade, even if Atlanta, would offer that. I don't think the Celtics would accept that. And then you talk about the other teams like the Rockets. The Rockets is also really interesting because they have Kevin Durant. I mean, it'd be interesting if Kevin Durant only played 1 year there and he got moved. We've obviously heard about the Kevin Durant for Jaylen Brown trade rumors in the past when Durant was on the Nets, and I think it was 2022 that those rumors were going around. I forget. But that was really annoying. Nothing ever happened of it. I don't think that would be the case anymore. I don't think we need to go out there and get an old Kevin Durant. Just with all the issues he brings, I feel like every team he goes to, they just don't succeed. The Rockets didn't meet expectations this year at all. When they got him in the offseason, I think a lot of teams were like, hey, this Rockets team got the final piece and they can compete with the Thunder and, probably be – a lot of people probably thought the Rockets were going to be in the Spurs position this year in the Western Conference Finals, competing with the young Thunder team. But that's just not been the case. I think KD, as great of a player he is, he's a legend, Hall of Famer. I just don't think at this point, he's helping any team. He didn't help the Suns at all. They ended up, losing out on, a lot of years probably of being maybe a little dynasty because they traded for Kevin Durant. They traded Bridges, Johnson, lost Ayton, Chris Paul. They lost all those guys for KD, and they went nowhere with it. Just a lot of first round exits. And now look at the Suns. Look where they are. Just a play-in team that has no direction generally. But yeah, so I just don't think KD at this point of career is helping any team, especially on the contract that he's on. So I don't know if the Rockets, if they weren't to move him, who would they move to get a Jaylen Brown? Amen Thompson's obviously a very intriguing young player, but why would the Rockets trade Amen Thompson? I don't think that makes any sense. Just like with Jaylen Johnson, that's your young cornerstone. You're not going to trade that for Jaylen Brown. As great as Jaylen Brown was, top 5 in MVP voting, averaging damn near 30 points. I just feel you value age more than that, if you're a Rockets or a Hawks fan with those two players. And then, outside of that, I did see some people talking about Sengun. If the Celtics traded Jaylen Brown for Alperen Sengun, I would lose my mind. I don't know what I would do. Sengun, I do not like. I do not think he's a good player. I think he's slow, he's sloppy, he's not a great defensive player, which I think we need. Yeah, he can shoot the ball a little bit, he can score, he can play make a little bit, but Sengun is just not a guy I want to see on the Celtics. I just don't think he'd fit our culture, and it's definitely not a guy I would want to trade Jaylen Brown for. That would not be worth it, in my opinion. I don't care if he was an all-star. I don't care if he's a young guy that has a future ahead of him. No. Jaylen Brown for Sengun straight up, or if we get some other picks. No, I'm not doing that at all. I can guarantee you that if that's what the Rockets have in mind to get Jaylen Brown. No. And then the Portland Trailblazers are the other team. Once again, I just find it hard to believe what they can offer to get Jaylen Brown, other than a guy maybe Denny Advia. But that's their young cornerstone. It doesn't make any sense at all. Advia, Jaylen Johnson, and Amen Thompson are the 3 young stars of those teams, and I just have a hard time believing they would offer any of them for Jaylen Brown, who is, despite coming off his best season, is obviously pushing towards 30 years old. And outside of that, I don't really see any of those trades like benefiting the Celtics. Like, yeah, like any of them. Even if they get a few players, a few future first round picks, second round picks, whatever, I just don't see it benefiting the Celtics right now. I honestly, like, if Jaylen Brown were to be traded, and like I said, I don't want it to happen, but if he was to be traded, like, the only option I'm accepting is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not taking any other trade for Jaylen Brown. I think that he is that just untouchable, especially after having the year he had. The only guy I'd be like somewhat okay with them, taking for him is Giannis. Like I said, I still don't want Jaylen Brown to go. I've been watching him play for the Celtics for 10 seasons. Like, it would be like a dagger to the heart. Like, I've seen a bunch of heartbreak as a Celtics fan. I watched Isaiah Thomas go through what he did and then get traded. That was a rough offseason for me. I watched Marcus Smart get traded, Robert Williams. Like, watching those guys get traded, it's just so gut-wrenching. Like, if Jaylen Brown got traded, like, that would be just next level, like, heartbreak. Like, been watching him for 10 years, like, the longest tenured Celtic. Like, I can't see that happen. So I hope it doesn't. But back to Giannis. Giannis did apparently say somewhere that he is interested in Boston and Miami as two potential landing spots if he were to be traded by the Bucks. I know that earlier in the season, or the season we just had, he said that, he didn't really necessarily want to be traded, but if he was, he'd be open to that. So I still don't know if they trade him or not. If they trade him to Miami, so what? I don't know. I guess like Miami would offer them like Tyler Hero, maybe Khalil Ware, Norman Powell. I don't know what they would offer for Giannis Antetokounmpo. To be honest, I'm not worried about that. I don't think that matters. But I think it is interesting that he said that he has an interest in the Celtics just because they've had an ongoing rivalry. He's had that rivalry with Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and just like the playoff battles between these two teams. So it is interesting, an interesting dynamic to see like him being interested in coming to Boston. I feel like, I don't know, but like I said, I don't want it to happen. I can't really stress it enough. I know Giannis has won multiple MVPs. He's a champion. He's literally one of the greatest players of all time already. But when you just think about his injury issues mixed up with the fact that we would lose out on Jaylen Brown, who's been playing along with this team and alongside Jason Tatum for 9 years, like, it would just be so heartbreaking to see that. I just don't know. I don't want to see that happen. And maybe I don't know. I'm blinded by my love for JB, but I don't want to see that happen. But let's just move on past that, all that Giannis stuff. It's going to continue all offseason. I'll be talking about it a ton more, I'm pretty sure. But we had one more thing that I did see on NBA Twitter this week, and that was the Celtics having an interest in trading for Peyton Watson of the Denver Nuggets. This is one I'm actually very interested in. Peyton Watson is a very good young player. I think what he's brought to the Nuggets, just that high energy, solid defensive player, a guy that can shoot the ball. Pulling up his stats right now for the season we just had, averaged about close to 15 points and 5 rebounds a game for Denver this year, in only 29 minutes as well. And he is a 49% shooter from the field, 41% from three. There's a lot to like. He also averaged 1.1 blocks and damn near a steal. So, like I said, very good defensive player. To be, a 6'8" guy that can play the 3, the 4, shoot the ball lights out, and, like I said, defend. Honestly, he's like a golden ticket for the Celtics. Like, he fits so well. I would love to see this happen. Obviously, like, his role would probably come off the bench, I would assume, unless they went JB at the 2, JT at the 3, Peyton Watson at the 4, or Peyton Watson at the 3, Tatum at the 4. I'm not too sure if they would do that, obviously. But I think Peyton Watson would be a great add for this team. The tweet I read did say the Celtics would look into trading the TPE for him. So I guess that would work. I don't know what else the Nuggets would want in return because Peyton Watson, like I said, very good young player. Like I just read off his stats, he's also 23 years old. So a lot of his future is still ahead of him. He's still obviously yet to get to his max potential. I would love this so much. I think rather than going out and making the big trade for Giannis and trading JB for him, I think what we should do this offseason is pick up these type of players, the Peyton Watsons of the world. I mentioned this in another video. Davion Mitchell would be a really good add. Maybe Isaiah Collier of the Utah Jazz. I want a playmaking guard. I want a wing like Peyton Watson that can come off the bench, defend and shoot. I think we also should get a center, like a stretch big, a guy that can defend. Maybe bring back Robert Williams. Maybe bring in a guy like Bobby Portis. Maybe Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of guys I think we could bring in without having to lose Jaylen Brown and Derek White. I think Jaylen Brown and Derek White should stay on this team. Like, I don't want to see them get moved because, Jaylen Brown's stock's the highest it'll ever be. Oh, Derek White had the worst season of his career and he's 32. I don't want to see them get moved. Like, I still think that we can win another championship, within the next few years with Jaylen Brown and Derek White on this team. Like, Derek White, what he adds is just irreplaceable. His defensive stuff. Jaylen Brown, like, we got to keep these guys, man. I just think we need to replicate the 2024 formula. How we dominated and won a championship that year is because of what we had around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. We had Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, the Al Horford, and whoever else. Like that, I just think we need to replicate. We need to go out and get a guy like Peyton Watson. Go out and get another point guard, a true point guard, so Derek White can go back to the 2 position, and then bring in another center. I think if we do those 3 things, I think we'd be good. I don't think, I'd be willing to trade too much this offseason. Sam Hauser's a guy, $10 million contract. I don't really love his contract. I think he's easily replaceable by like a guy like Duncan Robinson or Luke Kennard. I think he can definitely get traded this offseason. I wouldn't really care too much. That's a guy who I think we could trade alongside with the TPE that we have. So we have that money to spend. I like our role players. I like Baylor Shireman, Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez. I think they're not going anywhere unless it was for like a major deal that like changed the team. But yeah, so I think that this all this just add a few more valuable role players around the Jays, and I think you can get right back to contending. I don't think it's gonna take trading Jaylen Brown for Giannis. Like I don't think it's gonna take that. Like I mean, you guys let me know down below. Like, do you think that for the Celtics to get back to contending in the East, like would it take really trading for Giannis Antetokounmpo, or do you think that it just takes a few more pieces around those guys to get them right? I truly, that's what I believe. But back to Peyton Watson. I know that the Celtics also were showing interest in Aaron Gordon, or so that was portrayed on the internet. So it would be interesting if we brought in both of them. I'm not sure how much sense that would make. They both are like forwards. And like I said, we have Tatum. So like, I don't know if I would really necessarily want to get both of them. That would also probably be a lot of money. I don't know how much like we would have to trade to get both of them. I think it would probably take a Derek White, which I am absolutely not okay with doing. If Derek White's involved in any trade going to the Nuggets for Peyton Watson or Aaron Gordon, I'm going to lose my mind because he's not worth that. Like, I'm sorry. I love Peyton Watson. Aaron Gordon's a really good player too, but not for Derek White in my opinion. So I hope that doesn't happen. But if we could trade like the TPE, future maybe second-round picks, maybe a first-round pick, and then like a guy like Sam Hauser, maybe another guy at the end of the bench, like Amara Williams or whatever, to get a guy like Peyton Watson, I'm all for that, 100%. But yeah, guys, that's been the news circulating with the Celtics over these past couple of weeks. Obviously, going to stay updated, going to stay tuned in. It's going to be a long offseason, I'll tell you that. Brad Stevens is a mastermind. He did not like what he saw this year. Even in the regular season, he said it. They went 3-11 against the top 3 seeds. He didn't like that at all. He didn't like how they blew a 3-1 lead to Philly. Who did? So he's going to make a lot of changes this offseason. I hope, like I said, that it's not trading Jaylen Brown or Derek White, but I know that no matter what, Brad Stevens is going to do, no matter what it takes to bring this Celtics team back to the very top, back to contending in the East, back to winning Eastern Conference Finals, and hopefully winning more championships. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for today's podcast. If you guys like this podcast, leave a thumbs up down below. Comment down below what future videos you guys want to see from me. I've been doing a lot of NBA 2K26 rebuilds, even like non-Celtics rebuilds. I just did a Golden State Warriors one you can go check out with LeBron and Curry teaming up. Comment down below like suggestions you guys want to see in the future, whether that be just videos in general or rebuilds or anything else you guys would like to see from me in future videos. And yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the podcast, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.